Welcome, geeks and nerds, girls and boys, to a brand new episode of Geek to Me Radio. Tonight, we have St. Louis's own Bob Koplar. We're going to be talking all things Voltron, the OG 1984 version, the DreamWorks 2017 version, possibly a little bit about the movie coming out in 2027. All that and more. Stand by.
We're talking TV, comics and movies, and video games. And if you don't know Star Trek from Star Wars, we'll try to explain. There are 12 doctors for Hogwarts houses, one ring rules them all. To be the greatest Pokemon master, you must catch them all. You must catch them all. Try to catch them all. Gotta catch them all. Gotta catch them all.
And for those of you driving around the greater St. Louis area tonight, listening to us on the Big 550 KTRS, hello to all of you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, hello out there streaming us. We appreciate you finding us there. Obviously, video tonight, which means Joey V, my executive producer, is in studio with me. If you are hearing us on the KTRS app or from the website, hello to all of you out there digitally listening or streaming. And as always, if you're hearing us after the fact in the podcast form or whatever platform you get your podcasts, we appreciate you listening to us after the fact. Try to tune in on Sunday nights. Every Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, a brand new live show without fail. If I don't miss a show between now and August, that'll be 10 years of nonstop brand new shows, never a best of or anything like that. It's always been a brand new show. I'm very proud of that. Going for the 10-year streak. We'll see how we do. Lots of people in the chat tonight. Hello to our friends at Mostly Superheroes. They were just kind enough to have us on their show talking about Two Rivers Comic Con. Hello to the gang over there, Mostly Superheroes. Our friend Chance listening from Atlanta, Georgia. Hello, Chance. If you get a chance to check out the Nostalgic Pod Blast, he has a fantastic show there. And our friend BK from Cartersville, Georgia, listening down there. I was just on reviewing, what was the Project Hail Mary? I was reviewing that with BK a couple weeks ago. Hello, BK. Nice to see you there in the chats as well. I'm trying to keep track of all the chats. I know I've got YouTube and the regular chats and the Facebook chats up. So if I miss it, I'll try to keep track. In addition to the KTRS text lines at 84126. If you have a question for my guest, Bob Koplar, you can feel free to text it to us at 84126 on the KTRS text lines. Let us know your name, what part of town you're from. Like this is Laura from St. Peter's, or this is Brian from Alton. And let us know your question. We'll get those questions answered during the course of the broadcast. Now that the preamble is out of the way, I'm going to welcome my guest to the show, someone long overdue to have had on my radio show. As big of a Voltron fan as I am, we'll dig into all that as we get him, but let's get him on the show before I keep talking more. Bob Koplar, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Hey, James. So good to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I know we're supposed to have you and Andrea Romano to talk about, because obviously she voice cast the DreamWorks version of Voltron, and I know you worked with her, but unfortunately Andrea is just a little under the weather. She called and said she felt bad on Saturday. She woke up this morning feeling even worse. So she said, I can try to do it, but it might be a little bit listless. I said, no, you feel better. We'll get you on another time. So I appreciate you still being on with us because there's a lot to talk about.
No, it's a pleasure, and it's a shame about Andrea. She's fabulous. Your listeners got a bum deal tonight because I'm not quite her caliber, but I'm happy to be with you. I'll do my best to fill in her stead. No,
it's great to have you because, I mean, my gosh, I mean, when you think of Voltron, the Koplar name is synonymous with Voltron and everything. So for people who might not know, because obviously everyone who grew up, especially in my age bracket, remembers KPLR TV, Channel 11, all the fantastic shows. My last host, who was on right before me, Outdoors Dan, said, "Oh, I remember watching Wrestling at the Chase on KPLR 11." But it's just one of those things you remember. Talk a little bit, if you could, about the Koplar association with Voltron for people who might not be aware.
Yeah, so our family had KPLR TV back in the day, and my father ran that television station for a number of years. He was a broadcaster through and through. Part of his mission back in the 80s was to program this independent TV station with content. And the kids block was a big piece of that. So that's part of the independent station playbook was, while the network stations are playing, Wheel of Fortune or trivia shows during that 3 to 5 after school hour, the independents would put animation on. So when kids came home from school, they could watch cartoons. And there was a time when most of the network cartoons, like the Hanna-Barbera type stuff was getting gobbled up by the networks and packaged into weekend blocks. And so what my father did was he was looking for original animation that he could put on KPLR TV. And he took a unique approach. He went to a international programming convention and stumbled upon the Japanese pavilion there and found this thing called anime that was largely unheard of in the United States. And it wasn't consumed like it is today. It was almost like nobody had ever seen it before. But he had this hunch that it could work. He could sort of repurpose the shows and turn them into a kids show and put them on KPLR. And if it worked on KPLR, he could syndicate it around the country. And so that's what he did. He, in a lot of ways, had no clue what he was getting into because animation was new to him.
Right.
So he contracted with a Japanese anime company called Toei that they're around today. They make a ton of anime that I'm sure people have heard of, One Piece and Dragon Ball Z and a ton of others. Anyways, they had a few different shows, and he contracted for 3 of them. And what kind of a funny mistake of history was that among the 3 that he contracted, the show we know of as Voltron was not part of them because they couldn't remember the name of the show they wanted, and there was something lost in translation, and the Japanese sent the wrong show. And the mistaken show that they sent was called Go Lion. And when the executives at World Events Productions, that was the name of the production company, here in St. Louis, they open this box of tapes and they play it and they see what would ultimately become Voltron. And immediately they saw this one show and they said, oh, we like this one. We hadn't seen this one before, but this is the one we want. So it was a happy accident. That was one of the shows. Another one of the shows was called Die Rugger 15, which you may know of, James, as Vehicle Voltron.
Yes.
Which was, if you're a child of the 80s, you might remember watching these 5 lions come together, form Voltron, and then one morning you're sitting there eating your cereal and you see 15 different vehicles form a giant robot with a cone-shaped head, and it was called Voltron, and you're looking at it saying, wait a minute, that's not Voltron.
Right.
Well, that was Vehicle Voltron. That came next. So that was we had 52 episodes of Vehicle Voltron, 52 episodes of Lion Voltron. There's vehicle fans out there, and I'm not disparaging the show. I love it myself, but the one that became the massive hit was the Lion Force Voltron, and so our company actually contracted for an additional 20 brand new episodes that we produced actually in Korea. So ended up with 72 episodes of Lion Force and 52 of Vehicle Force, and it was kind of a flash in the pan. It was like the Beatles, and it was like here and gone because it went straight to syndication, and what that meant was the episodes were just churned through like. Instead of like once a week on the weekends, it was every day. So in a matter of like 4 weeks, you're into repeats already. So
right.
You just need a ton of content in order to fill a strip show like that. And so it went pretty quickly, but it like hit like lightning in a bottle. I mean, our company here in St. Louis, we were in the television business, and that was the business. It was distribution of content. And it was like, well, the more eyeballs we can get on the show, the better. But like, there was this whole other thing called like toys and merchandise that wasn't even part of the equation. And
Right.
But all of a sudden it becomes like the big toy of the season, and people want, Voltron bed sheets and backpacks and all kinds of stuff. And we are the people in St. Louis have like literally no clue what to do with this hit phenomenon. But they did a pretty good job managing it. And, it's, I think those of a certain age who grew up with it, it was just one of those things that like, you saw it on the air and you hadn't seen anything like it. It just kind of hit you in this really visceral place. It was like almost magical seeing these visuals on the screen and what they were churning out over in Japan. It was just groundbreaking stuff. And what I think part of the brilliance of Voltron is we married that Japanese imagery with a killer like 80s soundtrack that we composed as original music. A guy named John Peterson wrote that like really sort of iconic Voltron theme song. And it just, the music, I think, really brought the show over the top. And one of the things about Voltron, I don't stop talking because I just keep going on here, but
that's fine with me.
It was one of the first shows in stereo. Back in the 80s, like that was kind of a new technology, and most shows were still being done in mono, but my father made the decision to invest a little bit extra and produce it in stereo sound. And so kind of a weird side effect was that if you went into an electronics store, in order to showcase their stereo TVs, that they would be playing Voltron and most of these like TV stores. So like you would see the show playing at a lot of electronic stores, but the sound was a really big deal with the show, and I think helped make it as magical as it was.
And to your point, I did enjoy the Vehicle Voltron. It was weird seeing it because it was like, wait, this doesn't seem like Voltron. But once the episode started going and I kind of got into it, there's just more characters to keep track of, obviously. Just the way that my friend Jesse had the toy, I had the Matchbox metal lions. He had and I was kind of upset. I'm like, why is your Voltron taller than mine? Because the Vehicle Voltron was a little bit bigger.
There's literally 15 things that you have to put together. Yeah,
and you could buy them, obviously, the air team, the land team, and the sea team. You could get them all. Yes. Or they did sell them just like they had the lions. You could buy the deluxe set, which had all the pieces to make the big Voltron. The one thing I was confused about was they had a third Matchbox Voltron. I think it was called Gladiator Voltron, and I never saw an animated series for that. Was that not one of the ones that was picked up by KPLR?
Well, like I mentioned, there were 3 shows originally contracted. And one was Go Lion, that was the lion, and then Die Rugger was the vehicle. And there's one called Albegus, and that was supposed to become Gladiator Voltron. And then what happened was, the lion became so popular, a decision was made, like, why are we messing around with another anime show? We just need more of these lion shows because that's what the kids want. And so they sort of scrapped those efforts to do this Gladiator Voltron. I would love to have seen that, but it never did hit the airwaves. They did have the toy out for a while.
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember I usually went to the St. Charles Rock Road, had a toy shop there called Toy Chest. And that was halfway between my grandparents' house in Overland and my house in Florissant. So if I was really well behaved that week, my mom would usually take me to the toy chest. I could pick out a toy, and I remember seeing the Gladiator Voltron there, having no idea what it was, but obviously I wanted the lions. So marketing proved correct.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate your fandom, man, because like most people, the vehicle is just it's a way more, I think, like sci-fi heavy show. There's 15 main characters, 15. And, I was involved in the creative on some subsequent series, and I know how hard it was to service 5 pilots.
Right.
But to serve as 15 and to keep everything going straight, like it was, it's a lot. And so, you know, I think the simplicity of just having 5 is a little bit cleaner. But that's not to say we have explored many times doing a follow-on Vehicle Voltron show. We have some really good creative treatments on it that are really fun and exciting, and it hasn't gotten to that front burner quite yet, but it's been percolating, and we hope to get it out there at some point. So
that was actually going to be one of my questions, because obviously the DreamWorks Voltron, I'd say among the cartoon reboots that have been done, easily in the top 3 with the DreamWorks Netflix version. And I was wondering, I'm like, I wonder if there was ever a thought to, hey, how about a DreamWorks Netflix Vehicle Voltron as well? I didn't know if that had been discussed.
Well, if you watch the last few episodes of Legendary Defender, you'll notice they have there are shots where in the background they have the vehicles being loaded up. Mm-hmm. They have a nod toward that. So there was talk of segueing into Vehicle off the heels of those initial episodes, and that's kind of hanging out there. It's I don't know, we'd love to go there. But I'm glad you brought up Legendary Defender. That's the latest animation that we had. It came out in 2016 on Netflix. It was part of, if you rewind the clock back to 2013, DreamWorks is building out this massive TV division, and they do this big deal with Netflix where they agree to supply them with, something like 300 hours of television content.
Oh, wow.
And they decide right off the bat that they want Voltron to be a big piece of that offering, which made me super excited because it was an initial order of 78 episodes.
Oh, nice.
I mean, that doesn't happen.
Right.
78. They told me this and I didn't believe them. I was like, yeah, if only. Let's just do 13 and see where we're at. It's
sure.
No. We're doing 78 episodes. So what was exciting about that is you could invest up front in all of this beautiful development material, hire the best artists. They hired, Joaquim Dos Santos and Lauren Montgomery, who had just done Korra, which was one of the most critically acclaimed and beautiful animated series, ever. And they put them on Voltron. I mean, we had the A team. It was animated by Studio Mir in Korea. It just absolutely beautiful. And the writing was just so top notch. I mean, they went places with the story. When you have 78 episodes to tease out a story, it's limitless what you can do. And they did it. I mean, they made the most compelling characters. And what was beautiful about it is it was made by fans who grew up with the original show. I mean, through and through. They respected the source material, and Joaquim, our director, put it best when he said, I'm making the show that I remember seeing, not necessarily the show that I saw. And I think it's his way of saying we are kind of modernizing it in a way where we are doing stuff with the visuals that you could never have done.
Oh, absolutely.
Back in the 80s, right? Because like with the advent of CGI technology, the way you can tell a story with action, you can move the camera around these lions. They can move fluidly, and
absolutely,
it just sets up this incredibly dynamic action, but still retaining that warm 2D look that's familiar to people. And the show looks anime. It's not anime technically. It wasn't done in Japan, but it has that look. Yeah, and it's just spectacularly beautiful, and they did a really remarkable job. I mean, I couldn't have been more happy with the show.
No, I had Joaquim on my show last year, and I just talked to him last month because Susan Eisenberg and I had him on my Justice League podcast, and we talked about he's such a fan. Like I told him when he and I first started talking, I said, "Are you sure you weren't also born in St. Louis? Because I feel like we could be brothers and separated at birth." He's such a beautiful nerd in the sense that he loves the stuff he works on. He loved working on DC Justice League, and he talks with such fondness about working on Voltron with you and with Andrea and Kimberly Brooks, who we're going to bring in to St. Louis to Two Rivers Comic Con, thanks to the generosity of World Events Productions, and you bringing her in. It's going to be fantastic. And it was such a good show. Like I said, cinematic is the best way to describe Legendary Defender, because it did have those, like, as Voltron's assembling, we always kind of had stock footage of the original, the legs joining in. It would assemble a different way, and the camera would rotate around it as it was locking into place. It was stunning.
Yeah. I mean, he did those. He took those iconic sequences and just like supercharged them.
Yeah.
And just did them in a way that just blew your mind even more. I mean, just over the top with it. And he's so good at directing action. There's a real art to showing like with these battles when Voltron battles Aerobis. Like, it's not like, watching, I don't know, Wolverine or like Street Fighter, like you're watching a giant robot fight, right? Like,
right.
There's an art to like conveying that scale, that sense of scale, and he was just a master at it. And it just showed like every frame of action was just so incredible. And he's like a fighter. I think he's like a black belt BJJ. So he knows how to fight. So like I think he brings that to his storyboards. He and Lauren did just a remarkable job. And Andrea, man, I was really looking forward to talking with her tonight, but I am looking forward to seeing her when she comes in town for your Two Rivers Comic Con. I think it's fabulous that she's going to make it in. And if you're folks out there, if you're a fan of animation and voice acting in particular, Andrea is just a legend. Definitely. In the voice acting community. She's like one of the best directors ever. And the environment that she fostered in the recording booth was so top notch and so professional that like the product that she gets out of people is a result of that community that she sets up and the space that she offers for her actors to really explore and showcase the best talent. I mean, we had a tremendous ensemble cast. With a lot of these shows, like, voiceover work, it's good work if you can get it. Like, you don't have to put on makeup. You show up, right. you do your lines. As far as acting goes, it's not a bad gig. But what a lot of people do is like they'll just kind of go in on their own time and they'll record their lines, or some of them will just do it in their basement and, send it in. Our actors showed up, I think, almost for every single episode. They were all in the same room. And I think it's just because they enjoyed each other's company so much, and they enjoyed Andrea's direction so much.
Yes.
And there was just a ton of camaraderie. And I think you could really hear it in the reads. They just feed off of each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talented. Yeah.
And if you're just now tuning in, we're talking with Bob Koplar, head of WEP, and we're talking Voltron tonight. If you have a question, again, you can text it to us at 84126. A lot of people are listening. I apologize because I get talking and I forget about the chats. Hello to Jim Phillips, watching here in St. Louis. Hello to Joseph Rogers. Our friends at Mostly Superheroes say, congrats, Bob, on Voltron Beer Volume 10 from Four Hands.
Yes.
That's shown no sign of slowing down. Hello to Rob Lewis. Hello to Jack Porter. Olivia Miller, 1388 in the chats, says, and she's setting me up perfectly. I love our listeners. Olivia Miller, 1388, isn't there going to be a Voltron live-action movie coming to theaters? Why, yes, Olivia, but let me take a very, very quick commercial break first. You're okay to stick with me for a few more minutes, Bob?
Absolutely. We got to talk movie, but we got to talk beer. So let's take a break.
You had me at movies and beer, so that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll take a very, very quick commercial break then, and we'll come back with that setup in mind. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS. Please stand by.
Open wheel, action-packed, dirt racing monsters ever built with outlaw moves and outlaw skill from Tyco RC. Just hit the turbo trigger for turbo power and feed into the draw. Cause there's a little outlaw in all of us. Radio-controlled turbo outlaws, only from Tyco RC.
You can do it, Upsy, baby. She's getting up all by herself.
Quick, get the camera.
I knew you could do it.
How did she do that?
Just pull the string, press the button.
Upsy baby starting to stand. She gets up by herself now. She looks so proud. Let's give her a hand.
That's my baby.
Up, Upsy baby. Upsy baby, the doll that stands up. She's new from
Attention all Ghostbusters. Be on the lookout for haunted humans. Wanted, Granny Gross. She's no sweet old lady. Wanted, Tombstone Tackle. He's no hero. Wanted, Ex-Cop. He's not on your side. To catch these ghosts, you need the real Ghostbusters.
Hi, this is Kimberly Brooks, the voice of Princess Allura. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Since we just invoked her name, I figured we'd come back with our Kimberly Brooks return liner. And again, you will be able to meet Kimberly Brooks at Two Rivers Comic Con, happening April 25th and 26th in historic St. Charles at the Steel Shop in Frenchtown. She'll be there along with a bunch of other fabulous guests, Andrea Romano, Keone Young, Larry Hama, if you're a G.I. Joe fan. Come on. We have Pat Broderick, our very own three-time Eisner Award-winning artist Rick Burchett, Dan Reba and Kevin Altieri, fantastic storyboard artists and directors, worked on a ton of Warner Brothers projects. They'll be there as well as a host of other guests. Check out the website, tworiverscomiccon.com for tickets and more information. We've got a giveaway that I'll tell you about a little bit later on in the hour. But first, I want to make sure we tell you about our official comic book sponsor, Bugs Comics and Games. You can find them on Facebook and on Instagram. If your local comic book store closed, as I know a lot of them did during COVID, and I keep seeing other ones. I got a friend of mine who lives in Philadelphia. He said, boy, we got another comic book shop closing in Philadelphia. We're really lucky that we've got so many comic book shops, great comic book shops here in St. Louis, and for my money, none better than Bugs Comics and Games. A host of brand new comics every single Wednesday. You go in there and it's Nerd Christmas every Wednesday. Pick up your new books, whether you're getting the Infernal Hulk from Marvel, maybe you're picking up World's Finest written by Mark Waid from DC, maybe you're getting some of the independent books. They just came out with Silverhawks versus Thundercats. Speaking of 80s, I mean, come on, it can't get better than that. A lot of great comic books like Lucky Devils from Charles Soule still out on shelves. Start a pull list. That way you don't miss your comic books. Tell Larry, who's the owner, say, hey, I want to make sure I get Amazing Spider-Man and I get Superman. I want to get Batman. I want to get Absolute Batman. They're pulled aside and sitting in a cubby waiting for you. If you can't get in there on Wednesday, no problem. You're not going to risk having the comics sold out and you can't get your book. It'll be tucked aside for you while you're there. May as well join the Avengers Club. That way you start saving money on your weekly comics. And I always say it's not a real comic book store if they don't have back issues. He has boxes and boxes and boxes of comics for any price point. If you're wanting just to fill some holes in your collection, get some readers, he's got 50-cent comics, dollar comics, all the way up to some fantastic Bronze and Silver Age books in his case and along the wall. So if you're looking for something special, ask Larry. He just might have it. Bugs Comics and Games on Bryan Road, O'Fallon, Missouri. Easily accessible from either Highway 70 or from 364. And again, check them out online. Facebook.com/Bugs Comics and Games. Instagram, Bugs Comics AND Games. Let Larry be your official comic book concierge. Bugs Comics and Games, very proud to have them as the official comic book sponsor here on Geek to Me Radio. Chatting for a little bit longer here with Bob Koplar, and our listener Olivia Miller, 1388, set us up perfectly with a little bit of assist from Logan Janis over at Mostly Superheroes. We're going to talk about Voltron beer, and we're going to talk about Voltron the movie. Which one do you want to tackle first, Bob?
Just a note about Kimberly Brooks, real quick.
Sure.
She was a voice of Allura in Legendary Defender, and you mentioned that you wanted to have her in for Two Rivers, and I think my first reaction was like, oh, you can't afford her, and you're like no, I've got it all teed up, and I'm like, and you did, and I think it's a coup, and I'm so glad. I mean, you facilitated this whole thing. We're helping to sponsor, but it's the least we can do. But I'm so thrilled that she's going to make it, and she's the most unbelievably talented voice actress, and she's going to be fun to hear from. So I'm so glad that she's going to be able to make it in. And thank you for facilitating that, James.
Oh, thank you for the sponsorship. Thank you for helping out. I'm very excited to not only have Two Rivers Comic Con be partnering with WEP, but just to, like I said, this conversation with you is long overdue. I've wanted to have you on the air for a while because I am a fan, a huge fan. So I appreciate your time tonight and all your generous support of the Comic Con.
Well, thank you. Thank you for being a fan, and thanks for suffering through my my long-winded explanation of St. Louis anime.
No, it's fantastic. And I always point out Voltron is St. Louis anime. That's exactly the phrase I always use.
Could you have anything more oxymoronic than St. Louis anime? But here we are.
No, and I love the Voltron statue. I remember I went to a First Friday at the St. Louis Science Center, and it was Doctor Who themed. Nevertheless, when you walk in, though, they've got the giant Voltron statue right there in the St. Louis Science Center. And I'm like, I'm here for the Doctor Who. I'm dressed as the 10th Doctor, but I'm getting my picture in front of the giant Voltron statue nonetheless.
That was fun. I was happy the Science Center let us do that for a while. The big robot was like, you could see him like hovering in the window, like towering over the second floor. We'll have to do that again sometime.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, but you mentioned the beer. One of the callers mentioned the Voltron beer with Four Hands. And, I'm glad they brought that up. It's one of the more fun partnerships. But the great part about working on this property is you get to partner with like some really great creative licensees who do amazing toys and apparel and products, and they're just to see like how imaginative they can be with the IP and the way that they celebrate it and turn it into unique products. But we had never had a beer before. And this actually came about. We have a small plug. Sorry, James. We have a restaurant in Central West End called Adara Italian Eatery. It's fabulous. Please try it if you haven't already. And our manager there had an idea we should have a Voltron beer on tap. And I was like, I don't even know what that looks like, but if you're able to pull that off, then let's do it. So she talks to Four Hands and says, would you do like a Voltron beer for us? And Four Hands is like this amazingly creative and, innovative beverage company.
Yeah.
And when they heard this idea for Voltron beer, they said, well, why don't we not only just do it for your restaurant? Like, why don't we just do a Voltron beer and like release it to the public? And they had like an even like bigger concept in mind where they partnered with breweries around the country to do different releases of beer. And each beer was themed after one of the lions. So like the first beer was Yellow Lion, and then they did like a green and then a red and then blue and finally a black lion. And all the beers were just absolutely delicious, but the packaging was just like so cool looking, and they became these collector items. And it's just been a really cool product to have on the shelf. And Four Hands has just been so fun to work with because they make a great product and they're so imaginative with their marketing and they're creative, and it's been great. And having partnering with a fellow St. Louis company has been just a ton of fun. And Kevin Lemp over at Four Hands is just couldn't be a more genuinely like just hardworking, amazing guy who knows everything about the beverage business, and he has built this company like it's just so impressive what he's done over there. But he's been so fun to work with. So check out a Voltron beer. Try it out if you haven't already. if you're 21, obviously.
Yeah, I know the wine and cheese place over in Creve Coeur on New Ballas Road. I saw that they had the most recent volume, and obviously, if you want to pick it up at your local Schnucks or Deerbergs, you can get it there as well. And if they don't have it, ask them for it, because I'm sure they'll order it in if they don't have it, since Four Hands is a local brand, and we always want to support and shop local if we can. We have another caller here wanting to know, Bob, what's your favorite Lion? If you could pilot one of the Lions, which one was your favorite?
Black Lion.
All right.
Come on.
Same. Yep.
I mean, you don't want to be like, you don't want to say I'll form the head. Like, if you're gonna pick one, you gotta go with Black Lion. And,
yeah. Yeah. No,
the lead dog, right?
I do like black. I also like the red because I'm an Aries and it's got the fire sign. So I was always kind of partial to red as well. But yeah, Black Lion's the one I would go with.
Yeah, got to.
And let's see. Yeah, and just checking, because I'm so bad at looking over that I completely will just scan and check out from the text. But while we're here, I know Olivia Miller had asked about the beer and the movie. Let's talk about the live action movie. What can you tell us without spoiling anything or getting into contractual obligations, which will not go well?
So the live action movie, let me just say, I have not been more excited about something in my entire life. I don't want to be too hyperbolic, because I know how people in Hollywood can be, but this is just one of the more sensational pieces of filmmaking. It's coming together so beautifully. So our director, Rawson Marshall Thurber, is this. I cannot say enough about him and what he has done to take this childhood memory of his. He's a fan. I mean, he loves the property, and it's been his dream to make the Voltron movie for a long time. And here's a guy who's, he had his pick of what project he wanted to do. He was coming off of Red Notice, which was the highest stream movie in Netflix history. His body of work speaks for itself. His first major movie was Dodgeball, so he's funny as all get out. But just one of the most endearing, genuine people who just reached out in total sincerity and just said, and just pled a case of wanting to make a Voltron movie. So he just said it's been his dream to do this. And he had this spectacular vision plotted out. And it was so compelling that there was just no saying no to him. And it was him, and we also partnered with our producer, Todd Lieberman. And those are the two gentlemen that really got this thing off the ground. And so we took it around town. We had a number of studios wanting to bid on it. We ended up, which I'm ever grateful for, we are with Amazon Studios. They've been fabulous, fabulous partners. They have just been so supportive, and all the way through. The production itself was just it was like a dream. I mean, they spared no expense. We shot it down in the Gold Coast in Australia. Some of the most magnificent set pieces you've ever seen, and everything from special effects, and our cast is absolutely lovely. I mean, they've you can read about them. Most of them have been announced, but Henry Cavill is one of our main stars. So it's pretty cool having the Man of Steel and Voltron. Daniel Quintoy is sort of a newcomer, but he is just a savant of an actor. He's amazing. Alba Baptista, she's just stunning. Samson Kayo, you might have seen him in F1. The movie with Brad Pitt. He's hysterical. He's charming. He's just magnetic. John Harlan Kim is incredible. All of them. Tharanya Tharan. I think that rounds out our pilots. And by the way, James, St. Louis guy, Sterling K. Brown.
Yes.
I mean, that was like my wish list had been to work with that guy. Like my entire life, I was it a dream of mine to someday be able to work with Sterling K. Brown. He went to my high school.
Oh wow.
He was 4 years ahead of me in high school. It was at Country Day, and Sterling was one of those guys that just could do everything. He was like the best athlete in his class. He was the student council president, and he did Troubadours, which was like the musical every year. And he was this outstanding actor. And let me tell you, he made it cool to do musicals in high school. Like before that, like it was like, oh, you're a football guy or you're a play guy. And then Sterling came along and was like, oh, you can do both. And like, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
So he was like a superhero to me, and to be working with him, he is so good in this movie. Yeah, it's the whole experience from top to bottom with this movie, starting with Rawson and all the way down, has been just a dream. And yeah, I hope people go see it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a sincere. I think the other thing I could say about it, I don't think I'm going to get in trouble here. I hope not. It's a sincere movie. Like, you know, I think Rawson's vision was to not. I think audiences, like with what Marvel's done, and the Marvel movies are great, but they're very, very kind of self-referential. They kind of poke fun of themselves. There's a lot of, you know, it's like audience comes to expect like joke, action, joke, and I think the vision was like let's tell a sincere movie here, and I think what we came out with is something that really speaks from the heart. It's a beautiful, I think, family-friendly movie that you can, you know, moms and dads can bring their kids to, and the whole family can enjoy. And it's a lot of fun, and it's very sweet, and it's a beautiful story. So I can't wait to share it with people. I can't believe I have to wait another year.
I know.
But it's really a wonderful, wonderful story.
Well, and if people need something to tide them over for that year, I know the Voltron store just announced it's got the DreamWorks version on DVD, where you can go pick that up at the Voltron store if you're kind of wanting something to tide you over till then, or pick up, you know, the original series and things like that. And we've got the Voltron lager to cry into until that time when the movie's released. So plenty to do. Yeah. I think it's going to have, I love the fact that it's obviously going to have a built-in fan base. And it's one of those things that I think people who are remembering it from their childhood are now going to bring their kids to go see this on the big screen too. So I think it's going to be a generational thing. I have no doubt it's going to be a huge success.
Thank you. Yeah, I have high hopes for it, and you know, I hope people who remember the show do come and check it out. Come with an open mind. It's, you know, it's not going to be exactly like the show you saw, but it can't be. It's a new medium, right. And you have to adapt the way you tell stories. And I know the hardcore fans say, what the hell are you talking about? Just do the animation. It's like you have to evolve it a little bit. People get so worked up when you say it's a reimagining, because it's, you know, how can you reimagine something that was just pure perfection? We do the best we can. I think that we had just a A+ team on this movie, and I think they did a heck of a job. And I think hopefully audiences will agree.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that it's going to be a huge success. And again, I know we are bringing the Voltron store to Two Rivers Comic Con. So if what I just told you about going to get the DVDs or anything, I'm very excited that at Two Rivers Comic Con, the Voltron store will be set up where you can buy a bunch of Voltron merch and you might be able to grab something and then walk right over and have Kimberly Brooks and Andrea Romano autograph it for you if you get a blue lion, this or that, or something from the DreamWorks. But if people maybe someone didn't know there's a Voltron store, let people know about the Voltron store, and then as we close out here, let people know anything else, websites or anything you want to give out to kind of keep people in the loop.
Yeah, we do have an online store. If you go to Voltron.com or if you go our direct store URL is store.voltron.com. Excuse me. You can follow us on Facebook. I think it's at Voltron Official. I think. But we have a really great social media team, and they're funny, and they'll I don't know, they're very they're very on the ground, in the weeds on what fans are into, and sometimes the stuff they post is over my head, but it's like some of the younger fans of Legendary Defender, they have all these tropes and stuff, and it's a fun account to follow, so check it out. And we're going to be updating as movie news starts to percolate here. We'll keep people updated on our social media channels and make sure we're sort of the first to push out some new exciting announcements.
Yeah, very exciting. I see my executive producer, Joey V, just put a link to that in the show notes there. So it's store.voltron.com. If you click that link, if you're watching the show right now, it'll take you to the page. You can check out all the cool merch. And if you want to bookmark that link on your computer or device, that'd be great, because that way you can always go back and check it out for later.
Tiffany Ilardi, who's been with our company since before I was, has been running that store and does a magnificent job. And we have the best customer service in the entire industry thanks to her. So you go direct to the source, and we'll take care of you at our online store. So.
Perfect.
That's Tiffany, yeah.
Yeah, and I think she'll be on site possibly, so you can actually meet Tiffany if you'd like to meet her at Two Rivers.
The roving store. She'll have a bunch of merchandise on display at the Comic-Con. And by the way, James, thank you for putting that on. I know I have a semblance of how difficult it is to put on one of these conventions, and my hat's off to you, sir. And I look forward to attending.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you as part of this. Again, thank you for your support and helping us out, helping us to bring Kimberly Brooks here. And if you're listening right now and you want to meet Bob Koplar, he'll also be at Two Rivers Comic Con. He'll be running around probably talking to Kimberly and Andrea as well, and probably digging into the stuff that we've got for sale at all the other booths. So Bob Koplar, an intense pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. I'm humbled that you took the time on a Sunday night to be on the show. I'd love to have you back on again anytime you're willing to come on.
Anytime, James. Fun talking with you. And looking forward to Comic-Con. Be there.
Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your night.
All right, you too. Take care.
There he goes, Bob Koplar. Again, make sure you check out store.voltron.com. Joey V already has the link up there if you want to check that out. Check out some of the cool merchandise they have. We're going to take another very brief commercial break. We'll come right back in just a moment. Joey V is going to review They Will Kill You. They will kill us. They will kill you. They will kill you. Me, just me. All right. Well, he'll have his movie review right after this, so stick around. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio on the Big 550 KTRS.
I'm gonna schnozzle.
Name's Oliver.
Funny, yes sirree, 'cause he's part elephant, part kangaroo. Oh, Roo! Give me a snuzzle, Wuzzle.
Wuzzles come with their own storybook sold separately from Hasbro.
And now, another Tyco Superblocks adventure. The dam has broken, the road's out, the town's in danger. So you grab your Tyco Superblocks and quickly build a bulldozer, a backhoe, the dump truck, the giant cranes, and the construction copter. Rushing to the scene, you clear the road, you save the town. You did it! Another great adventure with Tyco Superblocks. They work with Lego too. Tyco Superblocks, Road Builder Adventure Series. 9 building sets, each sold separately. New only from Tyco.
loves to stack. Yes, construction is his knack. He's Zach, the Lego maniac. He builds in the window, he's off the wall. He builds them big, he builds them small. In Lego land, he'll rock and roll. He's Lego wild.
MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. You're listening to Geek to Me Radio.
Welcome back to the show. Geek to Me Radio, heard here every Sunday on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm your host, James Enstall. My thanks again to Bob Koplar for jumping on Sunday here and telling us all about Voltron. But if you didn't know anything about Voltron prior to listening to this show, now you've had the primer. That's great information. And again, there's a lot of cool stuff. If you haven't checked it out yet, I almost envy you being able to go back and rewatch those episodes. And I have the original 84 series, but also of Legendary Defender. And now you've got the movie to look forward to coming out in 2027 from Amazon and WEP. Hello, Angie Marie in the chats. Hello to you. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I've tried very hard to keep track of it. I think I've gotten most of you shout outs if you were in the chat tonight. So I appreciate everyone listening and tuning in. Want to make sure we tell you about the City of St. Charles, the Greater St. Charles Convention and Visitors Bureau. DiscoverStCharles.com is the website. They've been with me since the beginning, almost 10 years. It'll be 10 years in August since I launched this show. They were the very first people to say, yep, what can we do to help? Check out the website, DiscoverStCharles.com. Always cool events happening down there, whether it's something going on at the Foundry, like their block party, something happening in Frenchtown, like their 636 days, or it's Tartan Festival happening up and down North and South Main Street next month in April, or Two Rivers Comic Con happening April 25th and 26th, also in Frenchtown at the Steel Shop. City of St. Charles has a lot going on. It's the biggest small town, and it's fantastic. The North and South Main Street, all the restaurants and shops that are up and down the street there that you can go in, and these are all small businesses. You're supporting small businesses like I was talking about with Bob Koplar. Support Four Hands Brewery. It's a local business. You can go and have dinner at the main house, grab some dessert at Sugar and Slice, do some browsing, go to the Cozy Shop. You can go to First Capital Trading Inc., and maybe then top it off by playing some arcade games at the Main Street Arcade and Soda Museum there in North Main. Fantastic places up and down this street. A good time is had by all, whether it's a festival or just going out to find someplace new for dinner or finding the perfect gift at one of these little shops up and down North and South Main. Start your trip, whether you're on the West Coast, like our friend Andrea Romano, who's a little under the weather tonight, or you're right here locally, like Bob Koplar and myself. Check it out. Start your trip at the website, DiscoverStCharles.com. That's DiscoverStCharles.com. As we always say, it's an historically good time. Joey V, my executive producer, is obviously in the studio with me because we've got video tonight, and I don't know how to run that stuff, so you know he's here. He saw a movie that I didn't get to see, and this sounds like a fun movie. I know you and Jim Oosley both liked it. Tell us about They Will Kill You.
Yeah, the plot of They Will Kill You. A woman is hunted by a satanic cult made up of rich people. Does that sound familiar?
It sounds a little like Ready or Not.
That sounds exactly like Ready or Not. That is insane that these movies came out in back-to-back weekends. We call that the twin films. Are you familiar?
I do know that it's like Deep Impact and
Armageddon.
Yes, like those. Those came out within a year of each other, if I'm not mistaken.
Anyone in the chat, see if you can put in another twin film you can think of before I say them. You've got Bug's Life and Ants. They came out back-to-back. One of my favorite back-to-backs, American Werewolf in London and The Howling.
Oh, yeah.
I am a huge fan of American Werewolf in London more than The Howling, but The Howling has its place. White House Down and Olympus Has Fallen. Friends with Benefits, No Strings Attached. And here's the great one. Sometimes you think one's better than the other. The Illusionist and The Prestige are both pretty good.
I prefer The Prestige because it had Michael Caine.
Oh, yes, Michael Caine, Mr. Wayne.
He's got a bloody bit of magic to show you.
Tombstone and Wyatt Earp. Tombstone obviously wins that one. Mm-hmm. And then Truman Show and Ed TV. Truman Show wins that. I just rewatched Truman Show recently. Perfect movie. But if you watch the trailer for They Will Kill You, you'll know within 10 seconds if this movie is going to vibe with you. I didn't know anything about it till I saw a trailer, and then I covered my eyes and put my fingers in my ears because I said, I don't want to know anymore. I'm sold immediately. And it's exploitation, it's grindhouse, it's splatterpunk, there's tons of gore. I mean, I don't want to sound like a lecher. I don't want to sound like a pervert. This is caveman brain talking, but you've got Zazie Beetz. You'd know her from Atlanta or the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Beautiful black woman, and she is in a wet T-shirt. She is in her underwear. She's barefoot, and she's got a machete, and she is chopping people down, and it is incredible.
Huh.
I absolutely love They Will Kill You. And it's inspired in two ways. First off, you can tell the director is inspired by Kill Bill and the Grand Budapest Hotel. I mean, it is exactly like the bride going after and fighting 88 people that are trying to kill her at once. And also, it's inside of a hotel, and you can see the director loving that diorama feel that Wes Anderson does.
Okay.
You know, people will be crawling through the vents of this hotel, and then it'll zoom out, and you can see the way it all connects, like it's a dollhouse view. And I'm a huge Wes Anderson and Quentin Tarantino fan, so I appreciate that. If you think it's just someone ripping off some of your favorite characters and favorite directors, you may not enjoy it. But it's also inspired because, I mean, this is so much creativity in one movie. It's got some of the best martial arts that I've seen in a while.
Really?
Some fun wire fighting. You know, when someone gets punched and then they fly across the room. I love that sort of stuff. And you could tell Quentin Tarantino was inspired by those kung fu movies also. So who's stealing from who, really? It's just how you curate that stuff and put it together in one movie. And They Will Kill You has some fun casting. Now, it's confusing at first because Draco Malfoy, Tom Felton, and Roller Girl, Heather Graham from Boogie Nights, and you know, they die immediately in the movie, and you go, why would you have such famous people die? And then you realize, oh, they're immortal. They're coming back to life now.
Oh.
Their bodies are all over the place, and then the limbs start coming back together, or someone gets decapitated, and then tiny shrunken head Beetlejuice style, their head starts growing back, and you realize this movie is a lot of fun. People get killed over and over again in some of the most creative ways. The physics are nuts. I mean, someone will get kicked in the shin, and then they'll do a flying front flip through the air and land on their neck, and their head will break, and they'll be dead, and then they come back to life. So if you are into this silly, slapstick, funny gore, you're going to love it. I give it 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
And something that really helped me is I'd never done this before on my own, but I did the Marcus Mystery Movie Monday. Sometimes they'll just show a random movie and they won't tell you what it is. They'll just say R-rated horror film, and you show up. I went to this one for They Will Kill You, and I sat in the seat, and then they showed me an incredible movie for $6. That's a great way to do it. Just go in sight unseen and see a movie that you didn't know you would love.
Yeah.
The ending is insane. As I said, they're a satanic cult. The way they personify Satan is worth the price of admission alone. You got to see what they do with this movie. If you're an anime fan, a manga fan, it may feel like you're in the right place at the right time to see a live-action version of that. Check it out.
All right, They Will Kill You. 4 out of 5 stars, you said.
90 minutes. It zips through. It's some of the best cartoon violence. I don't know if you can think of another one. I think Shoot 'Em Up was another one like that, or Kung Fu Hustle.
What was the one with Nicholas Hoult as Renfield? Renfield had a lot of, I think, over-the-top cartoonish violence. That was why I was thinking of,
It doesn't stop. And it's produced by a team that does the It movies and the Welcome to Derry TV shows. So you're in good hands.
And hello to Reverend Amagon. I saw you in the chats earlier, and I just realized I did not mention you. I just saw you waving at us there in the chat. So hello, Reverend Amagon. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And Angie Marie did say American Werewolf in Paris was a show she was
wonderful.
trying to go for one
of
the
Zissou movies we just watched is a lot like that. Just 90 minutes of straight action and violence and chopping up Nazis. And I love the Zissou movie. You gave that one like a perfect 5 out of 5.
I did.
And I just watched the sequel. Zissou 2 is just as much fun. Check that one out as well.
I'll have to check them out because I did like the first one. I just saw The Godson. That was the first half-star movie I've ever seen, or given a half-star review to, I should say, because it was just the worst. But thank you for that review. They Will Kill You. If you like Joey's reviews, and I know a lot of you do tune in because you like Joey's opinion. So check out They Will Kill You in theaters now. My thanks again to Bob Koplar for jumping in tonight, being on air with us, talking all things Voltron, and for his generous support of the Two Rivers Comic Con, bringing Kimberly Brooks in. Best wishes to Andrea Romano, who is not feeling well. I know I was supposed to have her on tonight as well. She emailed me this afternoon, said I'm just not feeling good. She didn't want to give a halfway interview, so she's going to be on with us either on the 12th or on the 19th. I'm waiting to hear back from her schedule. Next week, we've got a fantastic guest. We're going to be talking comic books with the person who just launched the new comic book magazine with Absolute Batman on the front. We're going to have that person on, and because it's almost Easter, we're going to talk best comic book resurrections, taking your calls. Until next week, my friends.
That's a show. This is Geek to Me Radio.
Planet Doom. Good night.